Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something, well, something a little strange. It's our relationship with death. We all know it's coming, right? But we spend almost our entire lives pretending it isn't. So, what's up with that?
So yeah, why do we act like we'll live forever? I mean, think about it. We are the only species on this planet that knows, for a fact, that our time is limited. And yet, so much of what we do, how we plan, how we live, it's all built on this weird sense of denial. It's this massive contradiction, and it's right at the core of what makes us human. Let's make this real. Imagine an entrepreneur. We'll call him Tom. He decides to open a restaurant. Cool, right? But he opens it in a spot where 6 other restaurants have already gone out of business. He knows the stats, he sees the history, but he's absolutely convinced, nope, I'm different, my talent will make it work. And it fails. This is a perfect snapshot of the human paradox, isn't it? We know things are finite, that risks are real, but we act with this stubborn belief that somehow the rules just don't apply to us.
And this right here, this is the first big piece of the puzzle. Let's call it the immortality paradox. It's this deep, simmering conflict that's always running inside us, the clash between what we know is true and how we actually live our lives. Okay, so what is really going on here? What's the engine driving this disconnect? Why are we all out here building plans like we've got all the time in the world? Well, it turns out social psychologists have a pretty powerful theory that digs right into our deepest motivations. It all comes down to our fear of being insignificant. The theory is that our biggest, scariest fear isn't just, dying. It's the terror of living a life that ultimately means nothing. And this is the core idea behind something called terror management theory. Now, this idea came from a group of psychologists, Jeff Greenberg, Sheldon Solomon, and Tom Pischinski, who built on the work of anthropologist Ernest Becker. And what terror management theory, or TMT, basically says is that this deep, existential dread, it's one of the main things driving human behavior. It's always there, humming away just below the surface. So what do we do about this terror? Well, we build a kind of psychological shield. We invest ourselves in things that feel bigger than just us. Things like our country, our religion, our family's legacy, even our creative work. By doing that, we get to feel like we're achieving a kind of symbolic immortality. And suddenly, our self-esteem isn't just about us anymore. It's a measurement of how well we're part of something that will outlast us. And that is what keeps the terror in check. But it's not all some grand, heavy psychological drama. Our brains also have this much simpler, kind of quirky, built-in shortcut, and it reinforces this denial every single day. Yeah, the optimism bias. And what's wild is that it's not really a flaw in our thinking. It seems to be a built-in feature. You know that feeling, oh, a car accident won't happen to me. I'm less likely to get sick than other people. That's the optimism bias at work. And it's exactly what led our friend Tom look at 6 failed businesses and think, yeah, but I'll be different. And this little glitch, it's actually super useful. It stops us from being completely paralyzed by fear all the time. It's what lets us take risks, fall in love, start that crazy new project. You could almost call it a functional delusion. It just keeps pushing us forward even when, logically, the odds might be stacked against us. So, okay, our brains seem pretty wired for denial, right? We've got these huge psychological and cognitive forces all pushing us to just ignore the end. But here's a thought. What if there's a better way? What if we did the exact opposite? What happens if we just turn around and look it straight in the eye? And that question brings us to our next piece of this, because turns out an ancient school of thought has a radical and surprisingly empowering alternative. Take the Stoic philosophers, guys like Seneca. For them, death wasn't this big, scary monster to run away from. Nope. For them, it was the ultimate motivator. It was the one short thing in life that could snap everything else into crystal clear focus. The practice is called Memento Mori, which just means, remember you must die. And listen, this wasn't about being morbid or bumming yourself out. It was a practical tool. It was a daily reminder to just cut through all the trivial nonsense, to feel grateful for the moment, and to get you to live a life with meaning right now, not someday. And what's so cool is how the big names in Stoicism all use this one idea. You had Marcus Aurelius using it to be a better emperor. You had Seneca using it to stop procrastinating. And Epictetus used it to get rid of anxiety. For all of them, the conclusion was the same. Accepting death didn't hold them back.
It actually set them free.
Okay, so we've got this fascinating tug of war, right? On one side, psychological denial. On the other, philosophical acceptance. But what if there's another player in the game, a biological one? Modern neuroscience has found a key piece of this puzzle, and it has to do with something we all do but rarely think about, the art of forgetting.
Most of us probably think forgetting is just a failure of memory, right? Like information just sort of decays and fades away. But that's not what's happening. Recent studies are showing that our brains have specific molecular machinery that is designed to actively forget things. Forgetting isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature.
Think of it like this. Your brain is constantly doing a deep clean. It's purging useless details so they don't get in the way of learning new stuff. And this whole process is what lets us see the bigger picture, be flexible and creative. So a healthy brain isn't just about what you can remember, it's about what you're able to let go of. And when this system breaks down, well, the inability to forget can be a kind of prison. If you look at conditions like PTSD, the brain's forgetting mechanism is basically broken. Traumatic memories get stuck on repeat, and they can't be put away. And this scientific fact really lines up with that ancient Stoic wisdom, doesn't it? Learning to let go of what's causing you pain, whether it's an old grudge or a deep-seated fear, is absolutely essential for moving forward. So when you put it all together, it feels like we're standing at a crossroads. We have a choice. We can just go with our default programming. That's path number one. Subconscious denial, managed by all these psychological tricks that keep our fear buried. Or we can take path number two. It's definitely harder, but maybe way more rewarding. Conscious acceptance. A path where we take the one sure thing in life and use it as a tool to live a better, more meaningful life.
So, is it better to manage the terror of death or to embrace it as a tool for a better life? We've seen the powerful forces pulling us in both directions. There are very real, deep-seated reasons why we look away from our own ending. But there's also this profound, ancient wisdom in looking right at it. So the final question really is for you to think about. Which path is going to help you make the most of the time you actually have?